YouTube. So up for trade. No, I was going to make a joke there. It's not up for trade. This isn't even mine. A lovely guy just lives up the road. Fixed my car, the boot in my car. Hi Cameron. Thanks for that. The other day, and he had a bass that wasn't working. I said I'd have a look at it. So bit of barter going on. So here we go. This is a Peavey International series. I'm afraid I don't know the model number. It doesn't say on it. Don't think this is a cheap one though. This would be like a sort of, once you start getting a sort of flame top on it, that's quite a, I'm assuming that's just a veneer. I think it's just a veneer on it. But it's very, very fancy and flamey. This is a little bit of damage in here. So 2 humbuckers, one of these, this, and this bass doesn't look anything like an original Washburn 4 bass, obviously. Nothing like it. That's why anyone who's got one of these will always get people going, oh, is that not a Peavey? It's like, they copied it, clearly. But the main concept here, this is 1983, so I think this came out in sort of 82, 83, something like that. It's basically a P-bass shape, but the neck goes in here, into here. So if you look at where the neck bolts are, they're actually in below the scratch plate, which gives you totally unrestricted, no heel, super access to the top. Later on, the 4 series by Washburn started looking like this, whereas if you look at this, you can see the same thing. This one, apart from the neck, now runs actually on the surface of the body. They've also put it at a slight angle there to further increase access, like you're really going to, any bass player really wants to be in the 24th fret. Yeah, so I'm just going to do a quick wee demo of this. It's now working. One of the bridge pickup was dead. One of the coils is dead, so I basically used one of the coils, so it's just running as a single coil, and the tone pot was knackered. But apart from that, it seems to be going okay. So this is the bridge pickup, which is now only a single coil. It actually sounds pretty good, this bass. I'm not really keen. I like older, just the more vintagey guitars are more interesting to me. This to me is just far too modern. But it kind of reminds me a bit of the Ibanez Aerodyne. Is it Aerodyne? Ergodyne? Whatever it is. Sound Gear. Ibanez Sound Gear. Whatever. There's an Ibanez bass. It's kind of, it's the modern bass shape, you know, but it's got a small head. It's got much better balance. You know, it balances properly. There's a design element to making it functional over quite a lot of guitars. These are quite classy for it. It's like that's really quite a lot of that design is to make it look fantastic, not so much for balance and practicality. Weighs a ton, neck heavy, etc. So there is a place for that. Somewhere in between the two. You can't have it just for ergonomics, and you can't have it just for looks. Well, you can. Anyone who's played a Flying V knows that a Flying V looks amazing. It's great standing on stage. Flying V, you know, put your leg between the V bit. Fantastic. Nobody's going to tell you. I don't think anyone is twisted enough to say, oh, Flying V, that's a really comfy guitar to play sitting down. It's a really good design. It's like, it's not. It's a horrendous big thing, but the payoff is it looks pure stunning. Now the tone control works. A wee bit of a... We actually got another guitar from the same guy who said he'd got to do a video of this, which is one that I wired up for him, but I don't think it had a neck on it, or it didn't have strings or a bridge or something, so I've never actually played it, but I connected it up. So the wiring's obviously excellent, connecting one humbucker. Bring in the other pickup, so this is the neck pickup, which is still running as a humbucker, because the neck pickup's obviously much louder as well. But a bit louder. a wee bit of obligatory fuzz pedal through the guitar now. Right, you can't, if you've got the bass slung as low as this isn't the strat that was on it. Playing up at the 12 frets is kind of impossible anyway. I don't really bother cranking it up. I'll crank it up a bit so I can actually get up to the top. This strap wasn't on it, just stuck it on it. Now we're going nice and high for maybe I can get up to the top. So it's now working, Cameron. But quite a nice bass. I like it's got this polished aluminium type hardware on it. The tuners look really good as well. But I mean, this is a Peavey International series. I can't remember how the Peavey system works. Was the one I had before a Millennium? Is it a Millennium series? I think, like a lot of these types of guitars, I think for a bit less you can get like the whatever the entry level one is, which is probably pretty much the same bass, apart from it'll only be available in black, I would imagine. Maybe it's only got one pickup sort of thing. I'm very much I'm not really needing two pickups in a bass myself. I'm quite happy just having one pickup, maybe even just a P bass pickup like that. Leo got it right first time, but it is good for, not that anybody else ever puts a loop in on the bass through a bass amp and then plays a bit of lead bass, fuzz bass over the top. For playing a bit of lead fuzz bass over the top through a guitar amp, bass pickup's a great thing on the bass, yeah, but I think that, to be honest, if you're into popping and slapping and anything that isn't just Black Sabbathy type bass, then there's a space for it. So I've actually also got his guitar in. This is what I was talking about a minute ago that I wired up. Yeah, so sorry there's no Trade Tuesday. I think the stars aligned for the last Trade Tuesday thing when I just happened to decide to do it. A couple of days later, found the perfect guitar to start with. Got a video. The following week, found the perfect bass, and it just all seemed to flow in. So I just ended up with no planning at all, able to produce a Trade Tuesday video when I was out in the car every single Tuesday, and I think it pretty much I managed to get it every week until it ended. This time it's just not really worked that way. I don't know. It's just I've not seen the right things. I mean, a lot of it's one of these things. It's difficult to suggest somebody when you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy a guitar next week." That's very different from how I can get these things. I'm always kind of on the hunt for lots of things, and it's when the time is right and it appears cheap, bang, jump on it. But it's like pure, oh, I'm going to buy a guitar at the end of next month, and it's like, well, if you don't have a guitar, then that's when you just have to start looking at new ones. You know, like that's when I would suggest your Yamaha Pacificas or something like that, something that you can always get. Whereas if I just say, just buy a Washburn Wing, and you're not going to find one. Well, there might be one or two on eBay, but the chances are they'll be on eBay at a very... There'll always be one or two on Reverb or eBay, but they'll be expensive. For what they are. To be honest, even actually the prices of a lot of these things, when you see them in Reverb, they're still coming in at sort of £200-300, which is more than you could more than I've seen them before on eBay, but if you compare it to like a modern guitar, a total bargain central. I don't like the way that string was tuned away down to C. I just get the impression it's going to snap any second because of that. Yeah, so this guitar was actually, I think the guy has actually got another one. I think Cameron bought it off Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace, and it's a guy who's selling, has got some boxed ones in just up the road here. And it's because Westfield were a East Kilbride based company in Scotland, so I think, even though I don't think they exist anymore, the guitars are still kicking about, and it was maybe, oh, I don't know, I don't like that. Why is this appear to be stretching? Yeah, there's something wrong with this string. It might not have quite enough wraps on the head. There might be a way around it. Yeah, so no, as an off switch. So this was a brand. I think it was a brand spanking new guitar, even though it's probably maybe up to 10 years old, still in its box and all that. It was just a bog standard Strat. My pal bought this scratch plate, which I noticed he's still not actually peeled the cellophane off, and a Wilkinson pickup to make it a, I don't know, it's a wee bit like the guy in Lip Biscuit's got a guitar like this. It's a sort of baby blue with one humbucker. Tom DeLonge. Is that somebody completely nobody else? And he asked me to put a kill switch in it. So basically it's just got an off switch, which he says was really handy for recording, which I can understand. If you're talking about just, I just want to stick on a quick solo, bang on, then off, and it's just dead easy. Yeah, so I think this thing was brand new. I mean, I don't even know what I did. I assume I've probably still got the scratch plate. I might have used it in one of the Buckycasters, the original pickups. This would have been an HSS. But he was going to paint it. But I mean, look at the wood this thing's made of. It's really rather nice. It's certainly, if this was one of the ones that I was buying in for a Buckycaster, there's no way I'd be painting that. It does annoy me that the cellophanes. I would peel that off if it was mine. But yeah, I think it's a really pretty guitar, and it plays. Well, this is literally the first time I've played it ever. That's the first chords. Seems pretty good. I think Westfield generally were kind of alright. The only thing you got to worry about the Westfields is I've had a couple of them that have had twisted necks, but they could very well have been seconds or rejects because they're sort of local to this area. The chances are that the rejecty ones would maybe be given to charity shops or something like that, and they're back in circulation here, whereas anywhere else I don't think they would be. So if I just finish this off with a wee bit of a jam over the top, I'm using my twin note fuzz pedal, playing through that Laney jam man pedal, drummer and bass is coming through that. Fuzz pedal, go for a handmade super fuzz clone. I just like fuzz. Yep, so oops. Along with cheers to the man for fixing the door on my car. So along with getting your bass back working, I'm also going to show you how to put strings on the top of a guitar. It's yeah, you've really got to, you want on locking tuners, this would be fine. But if you look at it, a lot of these strings don't even have a full wrap round the posts, and that basically means that, see, if I just pull the string, it'll just unwind. That's why that E is not staying in. Because there's just not, you really, more so with these two strings, half a dozen wraps round is fine. You kind of want 2 to 3 wraps on the E, A, D and the G. People will tell you, oh, the string's stretching and stuff. Once you've stretched the string in, they don't really stretch anymore. It's like, that's the way a guitar tuner was designed, was to do that. You know, it's designed to have like 3 wraps, to have a guitar lying about that's got, the way I would do it, there's that one there does. Just make sure I didn't make a mess of it. No, I didn't make a mess of that one. So that's how I would put them on. You see there? Maybe slightly too many rings on that E string. I'd rather have one too many than one too enough, just because it gives it a chance when it's got a few wraps round to pull it tight. Whereas if it's only got half a turn, it's not going to hold. Although this chap is actually, I think he's writing his mad super heavy metal stuff, which, although you would think a heavy metal player probably hits the strings very hard, I think it's kind of the opposite is true, actually. You know, with the feathery touch, where it's just like, whereas I thump the strings like an idiot because I'm a bass player. It's even worse in the Black Sabbath band. It's like, because that's how Geezer Butler played it. So I'm playing basses harder just now than I ever have in my life, just like absolutely thumping them at the heavy bits. But well, worked out quite a nice guitar. It's quite a good system. If you're thinking of doing this sort of mod yourself, I did have to do a little bit of dremeling to make the scratch plate fit, because scratch plates are like, they're almost there, but there's often a wee bit. I think I had to do a wee bit of cutting round here to get to fit onto the neck pocket, and I think I had to do a wee bit round about here to make it fit over the bridge, which I used a Dremel, but I mean, it's easy if you just get like a wee file and you just spend 10-15 minutes doing it to get it perfect. That was really the only hard thing to do with the wiring. But I mean, I think this is much more interesting than when it was a Strat. When it was a Strat, you know, with the three single coils and the white scratch plate, it was still just a nice Strat. It's like, that's just a Strat. Whereas now it's a little bit more. It's a bit more. Kind of reminds me of sort of 80s Charvels and stuff. Often had maybe it's just the black scratch plate, you know, the humbucker and all that. Oh no, I actually noticed this Westfield doesn't have a Strat shaped headstock. It's a little bit pointy. So in the time scale of Westfields, I don't know when this one, I mean, if this is new, this might be some of the very last ones. Maybe Fender gave them a wee bit of a talking to about having quite such, because the normal Westfields is pretty much an exactly a Fender headstock. I think maybe Fender had a wee work with them and they changed it down. I don't think it's a bad headstock, so it's fine. It suits it better because it's a single humbucker one. So it's like it's a sort of metal Strat, whereas I think if it was a Strat, that headstock looks like, But I mean, there's definitely worse headstocks than that. What are those ones you always see in Andertons that are really, really expensive? Not Manson, it's something, no, I'm sure they're from Denmark or something like that. And it's like, yeah, they make like Strats and Tellies and they're like $3,000 or something handmade. And the headstock is pure Mingbot. It's like, really just, whoever designed the shape, just awful. That's a kind of meh shape. It's not amazing, but it's not minging. Whereas I wish I could remember what that brand were called. I mean, the guitars look amazing. They're all relics and look like a 50s telly, and it's like, oh, it's fine. And you get to the headstock, and it's just like, really, that was the best you could come up with. I know you're not allowed to use the Fender shape, but I mean, come on. There's plenty of headstock shapes that aren't quite Fendery. Actually, that one there's quite Fendery, but I quite like that. Sort of like a telly, but it doesn't look wrong. Neither does that one. I wish I could think of which. Yeah, so I'm a headstock. I like a good headstock shape. It doesn't necessarily have to be a telly headstock on a telly or a proper Gibson headstock or anything like that. No, it doesn't have to be the proper one, it just has to be a nice looking one. And sometimes you get really nice looking headstocks, and sometimes you get ones that just look like, oh man, get somebody else, someone with a little bit of artistic flair to draw it for you, please. Yeah, I might give him a free set of strings as well to go with it. I was thinking if it was just going to be one string, I could do my wee trick of when I snap a string, not normally on an old guitar, but see when it's like a new guitar, you've just put six new strings on it, you snap the high, it's like you can kind of extend it using an old string. Like it'll be good for after the apocalypse when you don't really get guitar strings. That'll be a really handy tactic to be able to extend the strings. You're assuming it's snapped here. I've also done it before with Floyd Rose ones if it snaps here, because in the Floyd Rose sometimes you can unwrap it a little bit, slide it back, put that stupid wee block thing back on to clamp it up. Yeah, no, but this is actually a really nice little guitar. Nice and simple, and in many ways the Strat is the best shape. It's the comfiest one. A lot of people don't like this was including me up until relatively recently, don't like the single coils. They're a bit thin and weak sounding and hard to play, and it's like, I'm not Hank Marvin, and it's like, but once you sort of get the hang of a Strat, the sounds are in there, you just have to work a little bit hard to get it. There's a way of playing a Strat to make it rocking. I actually took a Strat in, well, it was the Ibanez Blazer, which is not quite a Strat, into the studio for the first time last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it's the first time I've ever actually used a Strat in the studio. It sounded amazing. It's all to do with a commitment to playing it hard, and it does kick. So, rock on. Sorry again, no Trade Tuesday. I'm keeping my eyes open. If anyone's getting, they want to swap for something, then give me a message or something. I'll maybe be able to try and make it into something. So what I'm really going to do, I'm not going to rush it. I'm just going to see what happens and just wing it. I've kind of replaced the Trade Tuesday as my weekly thing to do with the Sunday Drinkathon, which I had a really good time last week. So I'll be doing that again this week. I'll see if I can get myself from El Dorado, I think, for Sunday night. So you can all join me. That'd be rocking. And as usual, thanks for watching. Rock on, subscribe and stuff. That'd be great. I think I've actually gone up quite a wee bit. I'm not in danger of getting to 2,000 soon, I don't think. But I think I'm at 18 something, which is still pure awesome. Rocking. Catch you later.